Well, hello, my friends. I'm so excited to be here with Simone Weber. She is CEO of Musical Missionary, Table Grace Ministries. I just want to mention Simone and I had a great conversation a year, maybe more than a year ago. Uh, and this musical that you're putting together has been in the works for a while. So, first of all, welcome, Simone. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here with you again and having a conversation about Table Grace the musical.
Yeah. So, well, let's first talk about table grace, and what that is, and kind of who you serve and how that all got started, and then we'll go into learning all about the musical coming up here very soon.
Absolutely. So Table Grace Cafe is a community cafe with no prices on our menu. We started back in 2011. We're located at 16th and Farnham Street, right in between 16th and 17th on Farnham Street. And we serve Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, breakfast and lunch. It's a pay what you can cafe, so we invite people of all walks of life to come in, have really healthy food. And if someone can pay for their meal or pay it forward to others, we invite them to do that. And if people are not able to pay for their meal, then we invite them to volunteer for their meal or pay a portion and volunteer part of the time. We also have a job experience program, so people can come and get 10 days of work training with us. And then at the end of that 10 days, if they successfully complete it, we'll help them with their job resume and give them a stipend to go toward things like transportation and uniforms and things like that. And so we've really seen a lot of people impacted over the years through these different programs. We have catering, we have our food truck as well that goes out into the community to take the mission all over the place. And I think the coolest thing about it is you really see a cross section of the Omaha community gathering in one place. So you might see somebody that is carrying all of their belongings in a garbage bag sitting next to somebody who has a business suit on and is headed to the courthouse, to do their job. And what's cool about that is that we can make connections and help people really build a network to come up and out of whatever they find themselves struggling with in all those relationships gathered around the table.
I just think that that's so wonderful. What an incredible concept. And I also want to say when there's an incentive, you're really changing people's lives. I mean, you're getting them giving them tools to move forward and when they're in some of the lowest times of their lives. So I want to thank you for that. When did Table Grace open up?
Table Grace Cafe opened in April of 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then remind me, the concept, did it come from Colorado?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
uh, Table Grace Cafe is a community cafe that's a part of a network called One World Everybody Eats.
Okay.
And back in 2010, we had already started our organization and we had a group of students come and volunteer with us. And they had just been to this cafe in Denver called the Same Cafe, and that stands for So All May Eat. So they were one of the first community cafes with no prices on their menu. So we learned everything we could from them and
Oh,
started one here in Omaha.
yeah. Well, that's so wonderful, and I know what a contribution it makes to so many people. All right, well, let's dive in and let's talk about the musical. And you're going to have to refresh my memory. I know we talked about this way back when, but how did that all come to be? Like, take me back to
Yeah.
the beginning of when it was like this little seed that got
Okay.
planted.
Absolutely. So, my husband Matt and I are the ones who started Table Grace Ministries. And prior to starting the cafe and the organization and all of that, he and I spent about 3 years out in New York City, right out of college. And so back in 2005, we went out there for about 3 years. So I did the circuit of, auditioning and shows that I could do out there and got some professional experience and started songwriting. And while I was out there, a lot of people that heard my music would say, your music sounds like it should be in a musical. And I remember thinking, even back then, if my music is going to be in a musical, I probably am going to need to co-write it at some point.
Right,
But
right.
so that was back in 2005 that first idea came. And then Fast forward to 2011, we're starting this cafe. A couple years go by, and I was witnessing all the lives that were being touched and changed by the community cafe. And so I started to interview people that were coming into our cafe and just ask them, is it okay if I, share your story? Or would you share with us how this is impacting your lives and what you're struggling with, what your joys and highs and lows are? And so they all gave me permission, and I told them, I said, I don't know where this is going to go, but one of my ideas is to put this into some kind of a musical or a play or something at some point.
Right.
And so it was really 2013 that I started collecting these stories. And then I would bury them. I put them under like a whole bunch of other books because I was like, I really don't know where to go with this next.
Yeah.
So 2013 is when we started those interviews. And then it was couple years later, like I tried a few different things with a couple different collaborators, but it was really 2016. It was after I released my album called Table Grace Cafe
Okay.
that we had a big event, and that was really our first big like gala fundraiser for Table Grace was in 2016. And so it was the next year, 2017, I was looking at what could we do musically at our gala this year that would be anything like a CD release, of an album that we recorded in Nashville. And so I said that out loud, and our board of directors was like, well, you've got this idea about a musical. What if you did something with that? So a good friend of ours who was one of our founding board members, he grew up with Matt. His name is Jay Gish, and he does comedy improv in Chicago and has written a play before. He was at our house when we were trying to decide like how to go forward with this musical. And he said, well, I could try taking what you've got in those interviews and writing something into like dialogue and a book for a musical. And
Right.
maybe we could do one scene. So we worked on one scene for 2017's gala, and we did one scene of Table Grace the musical. We had a few songs, and we put some patrons, like people that have been coming into the Table Grace, on stage with us at that time at St.
Okay.
Thomas Lutheran Church. And some of the patrons that were in that collaborative process with us were also poets. Eugene
Right.
Browning was in his 90s at the time, Jack Dankoff, and then Sean Blake was our drummer. And they all contributed poems and a song that are
Mhm.
still in the musical today. And so that
Yeah.
was pretty exciting to have that collaborative approach. And then in 2018, we did a table read of the full script and musical with all the music that I had written by then. 2019, we did a stage reading. So every part of the process, we went through feedback and got the community to participate in all of that. And then 2020 hit with the pandemic, and it kind of stalled out because that was the year we were going to put it on stage. But
Yes.
then we took a deep breath, and here we are in 2024 with our fully staged
Wow.
production ready to go in almost two weeks and a day from when we're recording this. So
Yeah. And first of all, I mean, thank you for sharing the whole process because when things are birthed or created or whatever you want to call it, there is a time way back when where it is just this little idea, and then you talk to people, collaborate, it starts to grow. But I mean, yeah, 2003, I think you said, right? Or 2005?
five, yep.
Okay, 2005. Yeah. So I mean, we're looking at 20 years here, and just all the little pieces that really had to kind of fall into place, and the people that you've met, and all the different things to make this come to life. So you gave us kind of like the really great overview, but I'd like to talk a little bit about with this project, talking a little bit about some of the highs and the lows of doing this. I mean, this really is a journey.
Yeah, it is. It is. With anything like this, you kind of know in the beginning that it's a passion project and that if it is meant to be, it will come to the light. And that's kind of how I've approached it the whole time. Like I knew every step of the way that there would be challenges and there would be roadblocks. And um, one of the things during the stage reading year that was hard was that we had booked we had booked the B-side at Benson for two performances, and we had sold tickets, and all of our ticket proceeds that year and also this year will go to help support the mission outreach of Table Grace Cafe. So we like to sell tickets and get people into the fundraising side of it and everything. But that year, one of the people that we cast was in our work program, and she was fantabulous and very talented. But then at the last minute, as is the case with a lot of our community, she just kind of went missing. So we didn't know where she had gone. We couldn't get a hold of her. So 2 days before these paid performances, I called through 25 people before I could find somebody to stand in for her. And at that time, we were still reading scripts. We were still, on the book and everything like that. So I literally just needed somebody to come stand
Right.
in, like read the part. And I had to ask that many people before I found somebody who was willing. So that was really stressful. And then the next part of the lift, and I've heard this from other people that have written musicals, but getting from the stage reading to full production
Oh,
is a huge leap.
yeah.
It's
I can't imagine.
ginormous.
Yeah.
And so I knew when I started having stirrings of, okay, I probably need to just start working on something every day. I just need to do something every day. Like I've written all the music, we've got the book, we've had it revised, we've had people read it, all of this kind of stuff. I just need to start kicking rocks and see where this thing can go. And so I started meeting with potential directors that I thought might either be willing to help direct it or know somebody who could. And
Sure.
also I was hopeful that we could collaborate with a theater locally and like have kind of a wraparound experience where Table Grace could be part of it, but maybe not carry the whole thing. And so initially, I was pitching it to some of the local theaters, and I really got uh, brick walls in a lot of cases. And I think it's because I understand why. It's a new work. Um, a
Right.
lot of places are going to do things that are tried and true and that are going to bring masses of people to the show. And so that idea kind of fizzled because I just kept going after these different theaters and I didn't get anywhere. But every time that I felt a closed door, then I was like, okay, there's got to be a silver lining here. Like maybe I can meet somebody new, or maybe I can, find somebody
Yeah.
like kind of a way through. And so eventually I did get a meeting with a potential director, and she wasn't able to do the show, but she told me about a couple of other people. And then several people pointed me to one person, which was the phenomenal director, Kathy Tyree. And
Mm,
so she and I worked together a little while last summer on the front end of like how do you get this thing to the stage and which theaters are going to be the best. And because now I was looking at doing it from Table Grace's perspective completely, like
sure.
carrying the weight of the financial piece of it and also the just getting all the ducks in the row and all the balls in the air at the same time.
Yeah.
So she really helped in that part of the process, and she was considering directing it, but then things changed in her life because we needed to wait a little longer before we really nailed down our timing. And so that was another kind of detour because I thought we had our director and then we didn't. But we had some of these other things in place, and we had enough of those things in place that once I knew she couldn't direct, we still needed to move forward. And so and
Yeah.
so that was a little bit of a free fall as well until we found our current director, Dr. Lorene Pickle. And so
Okay.
she came on board in the fall, and we found our choreographer, Julie Stanfill. And we found her through a dance studio that our daughters and her daughter
Okay.
both go to, which is fusion dance in Millard. And so she signed on to do the choreography. So anyway, it's just been twists and turns kind of all along the way. But you
Yep.
kind of get to this point where it's like a trust fall. You just know, okay,
Yeah.
that thing isn't going to work out, so we're going to try this. That
Yes.
thing isn't going to work out, so we're going to try this. And you just keep going.
Right. And I think that's just a great message for everybody. And I'm sorry, I'm, zooming out of my home and I have a blind kitty here that's poking me. So,
That's
um,
okay.
yeah. So, but yeah, I just think that is a great message for everyone. When there's something that you are creating, have created, or coming into creation, you really have to be the one that drives the bus on it and not
Yep.
give up. And when and when because I mean, that's just life. I mean, that's just life, regardless of what you're doing. So I really thank you for sharing that. Um, let's talk a little bit about, because I really want to get to also how people can buy tickets, and because you've got it at three different locations, and which is so exciting over a period of time. So, um, but how can people get involved with what you do, and what does that even mean? That's just a question that's on my question sheet. How do people get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, depending on what you want to be involved in, there's a couple
Yeah,
different routes. So, if you would like to be involved in Table Grace the musical, there's a few opportunities. Obviously, come to the show. We'd love for you to come and bring groups of people. We have over 2,000 seats that we could fill, and
okay,
we hope that we can fill a lot of those. So,
yeah,
we've got some donors who have generously bought groups of tickets so that we can offer those to people who may not be able to afford a ticket. So if you know of a group that could benefit from that, reach out to us. If you yourself are connected to an organization that could be a sponsor or, kind of help us float the boat with the musical, and we've got some sponsorship levels where we could also promote your business or organization in a variety of ways through that process. So
yeah,
that's the musical side of things. And of course, like I said, we'd love for you to come to the show, and you can go to tablegracethemusical.com to
yes,
buy your tickets and to watch the trailer and all of that. Um, Getting involved in Table Grace Ministries is multifaceted. So the first thing I would invite you to do if you haven't yet is come eat at the cafe and bring other people. So come for breakfast or lunch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Maybe volunteer for a little bit of time. Just kind of get to know the people that are coming in there and be open. Like when you walk in the door, a lot of places we go in public, unless we're with somebody, we kind of keep to ourselves. And I think one of the cool
right,
things about the cafe is that we try to have conversation with people maybe we don't know. And after you come to Table Grace, you will know each other and stuff.
right.
And so that's one way. Um, we also have opportunities to book our food truck and come to your location. So we would love to partner in that way as well. We have this thing called Matching Monday. And so if a business or an organization or individual wants to match what comes in our donation box, we can do a social media blitz kind of thing and lift up your organization or business as well.
Nice.
And then we invite people that are matching that day to come into the cafe and bring their friends, bring their colleagues, family, that kind of thing. So there's lots of different ways, and we're always looking for people to participate with what your skill set is too. We
Yes.
often need various talent that's out there.
Right,
So
right. I like that matching money. I'm actually making some notes as you're talking.
awesome.
Right.
That's
So
wonderful.
as we've got just a minute or two left, I'm actually looking over here at your website. You've got the performance at the Scottish Rite Center, Benson Theater, the Loft Theater. So I'll let you talk a little bit about that because several weekends going through starting on June 21st, June 27th, August 9th. But yeah, take us kind of through that and um, you know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, so the opening weekend is supported by the Nebraska Arts Council, and we are excited about that because we're able to keep the cost really low. So we're inviting the community for sure to come that weekend. Tickets are $10, and so we have like 900 seats that we could fill. So if you're looking to buy a group of tickets for a group of people, that would be a great weekend to do it. Opening weekend starts at 7 o'clock p.m. The second night on June 22nd, we also have a sign language interpreter. So if anybody needs that, we can offer that service as well.
Hey, nice.
Um,
Yeah.
at the Benson Theater, we are offering our catering services. So if you want to taste a little bit of what Table Grace has
Mhm.
to offer, you can book your tickets at the table or at the Benson Theater location, June 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Okay.
The catered dinner will be served at 6 p.m. and then the show at 7 p.m. And then at the Loft Theater in Manly on August 8th and 9th, we'll have our food truck ahead of the show. And
Nice.
Manly is 30 miles south on 144th Street.
Okay.
It's a fun theater out in the country. And what's kind of unique about that particular location and our connection to it is that one of our donors, Diane Reese,
Mhm.
was a teacher out in that location back in the 70s. And she had students that she thought were super talented and needed a community theater. And so
Wow.
she found a farming family who opened up their barn back in the 70s to start this
Okay.
loft theater. And her student, Kevin Colbert was her student, is the artistic director still today at the Loft Theater. And so that was just a really
Wow.
fun connection to Table Grace because she's
Yeah.
one of our donors that supports what we do. And that was just really an exciting story to know about. So it's a very collaborative approach out there at the Loft Theater. And the other thing I wanted to say was that you asked about the highs and the lows. One of the highs in this process has just been seeing how people's lives have been touched and changed already by being a part of Table Grace the musical. And so I know I don't have a lot of time, so I won't tell those stories right now, but every different person that has touched this show has
Mhm.
come to me at some point and explained something that has happened in their life as a result of being a part of this. And I just feel like it's a gift to be a part of this journey. And yeah, it's a
Yeah.
blessing.
Wow. I mean, what a great story. Again, listening from the seed that was, when you just kind of got the idea and everything in between and the people that you are helping. And yeah, it's just amazing. So I want to encourage everybody. So tablegracethemusical.com is the website. I'm looking over here because I'm looking at the website, lots of great information. Um, and there's just some different fun things that people can do and experience during these weekend performances. So again, June 21st, 22nd, Scottish Rite Center, 27 through 29, Benson Theater. You can have dinner there, and then August 9th through 10th, the Loft Theater in Manly, Nebraska. And you said that's like 30 miles south on 144th, about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's not too far from Omaha. That's what
Yeah.
a lot of people ask me. And just confirming, so the August dates are the 8th and 9th.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I didn't say August, I apologize. Yeah,
Yeah.
August 9th. That, yeah. So, and then you've got your food truck down there as well. So,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
Simone, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, encouraging everybody to check this out. It's a $10 donation. Is that, or
So the
$10 ticket?
Scottish Yeah, the Scottish Rite Center tickets are $10. Benson Theater is 36, and then Loft Theater is 24. And at the Benson and Loft performances, we're also going to have this cool thing called the Takeout Hunger Wall.
Okay.
So you'll have a chance to make a donation there and
Yeah.
potentially win something from those Takeout Hunger boxes. So yeah,
Okay.
fun.
Well, wonderful. Well, I'm actually, I'd love to connect with you just kind of one-on-one after this is all over and kind of hear how it all went. And I will make a note. I'm actually looking at that August 8th and 9th, those dates to head on down and experience that. So Simone,
That would be wonderful.
I think I've got a little something in my throat. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely.